Congressman Khanna. He's a Democrat from California, specifically representing Silicon Valley, and he's also a member of the Congressional Progressive Caucus. And yes, when you see the list of potential presidential candidates in the future, your name is on it. Congressman, it's good to see you.
Great to be on.
First, I want to start with the Manchin deal. Let me ask, and be honest with me. If this was the deal Manchin agreed to 6 months ago, would you have taken it?
Yes, but not a year ago.
Okay. All right.
Not a year ago. But, look, I was getting criticized from my own party. I started talking with Senator Manchin January 1st. I said on MSNBC, give him the pen. Let's have a smaller deal. Let's take the deal. I was part of his bipartisan group because I said if we don't have Manchin, we're not going to get a climate.
So you might as well see what the least supportive senator is going to be for.
You might as well see it. And right. Here's what I knew about Senator Manchin. He was going to be for the innovation funding. I had done a tech project in Beckley with him. He was always for the solar, the wind, the battery. He didn't like the sticks. Some of us want the sticks as well. Mm-hmm. He wanted some permitting reform. But I think he was always negotiating to get a deal.
Are you okay with the fact that apparently one of the promises he was made is permitting reform? It's not going to be in the reconciliation, but it would be a separate bill, which would basically help the fossil fuel industry get over some environmental barriers if necessary.
Well, look, it's not the bill I would have written, but is it on the whole worth taking? Yes, for two reasons. One, it's not just the billions of dollars of spending. It's also the trillions it's going to unleash in the private sector. And that's, I think, what people are underestimating. Silicon Valley, all of the venture capital now is going to go in to clean tech. So maybe we'll have a bubble in this instead of a bubble in cryptocurrency. That is huge. It could be transformative. The second thing on permitting reform is we do need some permitting reform. I mean, there is some solar farms that are not being going through because of permitting. So I'm for sensible permitting reform, lithium-ion processing, let's have that, but not obviously the oil leases and the quid pro quo, but it's part of the deal. It's compromise.
All right, when you host one of your town halls in September, October, talking to your voters, you're on the ballot every 2 years, and a voter asks, hey, how is this bill going to help me right now? What would you say?
It's going to lower prescription drug costs.
And they'll see it this quickly, you think?
I think they'll see it within a month. I mean, not the next day. But, yes, it's going to lower prescription drug costs. It's going to help have new jobs in terms of the investment in clean energy. It's going to help make more things in the United States, and that's going to lower costs. I mean, the semiconductor bill, look, there are all these pickup trucks that need a semiconductor chip that aren't out being sold. And if you want to tackle inflation, let's make more stuff in America instead of shipping it from overseas.
I want to ask you about how you talk about this economy. And I say this, that I think there's been a lot of time spent on what to call it. And frankly, I think not enough time spent on sort of empathizing with what the reality is for the average American.
It's a tough economy. Gas prices are up. Food prices are up. There's not baby formula still on the shelves. People are hurting. And you have to start with that. Then you start with, OK, what are we doing? The two things we're doing is we're going to make more things in America. We're not going to be dependent on a supply chain that is in Europe, in Russia, in China. People get that. They're like, yeah, after the pandemic, we need to make more things here. That will bring down prices. And second, we need to take more aggressive action to bring down prices. The president released the Strategic Petroleum Reserve. I've said he should have a ban on exporting oil and move back to what we had prior to 2015. I've said he should have been buying at the dip and selling back at cheap prices. We need to be more aggressive on food and oil prices to bring them down.
Are you worried about a false spike? There's been some, I mean, look, at the end of the day, you want to talk about a political problem, a new spike in gas prices in October, because what could happen with the oil markets internationally could be a problem. I think people are trying to foresee this and try to do something about it. How concerned are you that we're not on top of this? Yeah.
I mean, I wrote a New York Times op-ed talking about preemptive buying. They dismissed the idea. I said, let's be buying the oil when it's at a cheaper price so that we can sell it back at a subsidized price. We've done this before. Now, if you have the European sanctions go into place and you have a price spike and it happens to be in October, that's going to be a big, big issue. It's going to outweigh all the good things we've done. So I think we have to be aggressive, either ban the export of oil, go after the...
What about the gas tax holiday that he proposed? I mean, I know wasn't a huge fan, but I've also wondered, where did it go?
Well, I don't think that's the answer, because I don't think the answer is to drain the public treasury. I would rather do the windfall profits tax. I mean, just today, Exxon and Chevron making record profits of this war. Why not tax them and put $300 in the pockets of every American?
I want to ask you about some House business, the assault weapons ban. I had somebody ask me this A local reporter asked me this earlier today. Why is the House trying to pass something that has no chance of going into the Senate? And I said, it's a fair question. So let me ask you, member of Congress, why are you guys passing something that you know can't pass this Congress?
Well, we would pass almost nothing if the bar was what would pass the Senate.
But why on this? Why do you think this is important? Why is this message important?
Well, this is, I mean, after the massacres we've seen, after the mass shootings we've seen, you talk to young people in my district, they care about two things, climate and guns. They're traumatized by it. They want to see their representatives doing something. And, Chuck, you've been in Washington long enough to know you pass things over and over again. You pass them in the House. Eventually, they move. So this builds the political support. I mean, look, in the 6 years I've been in Congress, we haven't had the votes to pass an assault weapons ban.
So the fact that you guys are going to be able to do this with your own party, in your mind, is a step.
It's a huge step. I mean, there's now more of a consensus, at least among Democrats, to pass this. That's progress from 6 years. Now we have to get the Senate.
Is the 2024 talk on the Democratic side a good thing or a bad thing for the party?
It's neither here nor there, but I think here's what the reality is. Joe Biden is the incumbent president. You support the incumbent president of your own party.
You're going to support the incumbent president if he runs for re-election?
I am.
Hard stop, right?
I am, yes.
Okay.
And I mean, the other speculation, my view is that Joe Biden should start talking about the accomplishments, about the economy, tune out all the other noise. They're just helping build our profiles.
All right. You're going to support him. Should he run again?
That's up to him and his family.
You must have an opinion.
My view is that he beat Donald Trump. No one else beat Donald Trump. I still think Donald Trump is the most formidable candidate against us, and he has the judgment to make that decision. Here's what I do believe about Joe Biden. I don't think he would put the country or the party through this if he really thought there was someone else who had a better shot at beating Donald Trump. That's a judgment he's going to have to make, and he's entitled to make it since he's the only one who's ever done that.
Khanna, Democrat from Silicon Valley. Thanks for coming on.
Thank you.
Thanks for watching our YouTube channel. Follow today's top stories and breaking news by downloading the NBC News app.